Hi guys, Mark Bentley here. Going to talk to you about images today. Images as intelligence. When you look at images on the internet, you can't trust them. There's so many different hallucinations, fake information, they're AI generated. There's all sorts of stuff that we've got to take into account. And images are intelligence only. They're not actionable when you look at them on the internet. You've got to think about how they have been presented to you. Are they true? Are they fake? Have they been adapted in any way? Is there another copy somewhere that has that information? What about the geolocation of this image without the geotags and the EXIF tags being present? That's what I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to do a live walkthrough. Actionable intelligence from any image. We're going to have a look at useful tools. I'm going to give you a few hints towards the tools and the tools that we should be using. Bad data, trying to avoid pitfalls and trip hazards when we're looking at images. So briefly about me, 30 plus years, nearly 38 now, in investigations, Metropolitan Police, National Crime Agency, CEOP Child Protection, and other agencies. I now run my own company, my training company, and I do law enforcement and government training on dark web, cryptocurrency, OSINT, SOCMINT, HUMINT, AI, all sorts of stuff around the world and online. So you can check me out if you wish at bentac.co.uk. But today is all about doing searches. It is a information training OPSEC session that we're going to be doing today. It's not a hard sell. We're very kindly sponsored by User Search, the platform for open sourcing, and I will dip into that and other platforms during the course, but it's not a sales promotion. I'm talking about OSINT. I'm talking about how to avoid problems whilst you are looking at images. So, three main phases here. The first phase, source data. You get the source. Can you trust it? Can you trust that data? Establishing the image actually came from. So we're thinking about geo. We know about social media sites. They strip it out, don't they? So it's a mutual legal assistance treaty if you're law enforcement, or an ILAW, an international letter of request, a letter rogatory, 3 to 6 months. They don't have to reply. And you're not going to get that information. But can we do other things? Of course we can. We've got to bust a few myths here as well. And we've got to think about doing away with things like we have an image, the data's been stripped out, and we go, well, there's no EXIF tags, no geodata. Don't say that, because you haven't got the only copy in the world, unless you took the picture on your phone. It's not the only copy on the world. If it's been published on the internet, within a matter of seconds, there's a copy made, then there's another copy, then all the servers around the world update, they all look at each other, and then there's millions of copies. And then the originator deletes that image. There are still thousands of images out there. So we have deleted image and data such as Wayback Machine and what have you, which will retain that data and images. And you may find a copy of the image historically that still has the metadata embedded in it. So we think about trusting that, the provenance. So as a general rule, when you look at an image, if you find a single solitary image on a single solitary website, then you've got a lot of work to do. And I'll show you that operationally as we talk about this in a little while. Because when you look at a single image, you are looking at the image as an entity and saying, I've got a copy, there's no EXIF data. Do you have the only copy? No, you don't. There's thousands of copies. We all know about TinEye. So we're thinking, well, is there another copy out there that has EXIF tags and EXIF data, finding the originator, stuff like that? When I was in child protection, we used to look for, try and find the original image that was uploaded before, if fingers crossed, if you're lucky, before it was uploaded into social media. So the EXIF tags are still there, and it's a lot of work. I'm going to show you some shortcuts now. I'm talking about 10 years ago doing that, but the shortcuts now. And we've got to grade them. We've got to think about, can we trust it? Now, when you risk assess anything you do on the internet, emails, telephone numbers, whatever it is, if you assess that as being, I can't trust this until such time as I can. Yeah, innocent until proven guilty. I can't trust this until I can trust it. Then you're in a good place. If you do that with every single thing that you have, because as I talked about on my previous courses, ABC, acquiring it, backing it up, and corroborating. And then phase two of the talk today is going to be digging deeper and confirming the data. That's the ABC. Reverse image, looking at multiple places where the image is. Now I'm going to show you the best case I've found for hallucinations and fake information on that in a little while. And cross-checking it against independent evidence. So you might have your own databases. You might have access to databases. If you're law enforcement, you might have access to records that nobody else can get to. And then we're going to have a look at avoiding the traps and hallucinations. So we've got a bit of work to do today. It's going to take about 45 minutes to talk to you about this stuff. But we've got to think about trusting stuff. Yeah, we trust DNA. We trust. So what do we do with a bloodied knife at the scene of a crime? We put it into a tube and we put it into a bag, and the bag has a seal number. And that seal number is the provenance throughout its journey to the laboratory, to evidence, and everything like that. Can we do that with, we can't put a screenshot in a property bag. We can't put something on the internet in that property bag. Well, actually, technically we can, because there's Chrome add-ons that I'll show you a little bit later that will do that for you. It'll effectively put it into a property bag and give it a provenance. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a PI listening to this, or a journalist, or an investigator. We all have our own, or a police officer. We all have our own restrictions and the system by which we've got to play the rules. And at a later date, we might be called upon, irrespective of your work and what you do, we might be called on to justify what we did there. So, avoiding the traps, thinking about that, thinking about recycle images, changed images, we'll have a look at that as we move through today. So what do we have, and how can we trust it? It can be many things: a true photo carrying metadata and geolocation, having it stripped bare, an AI enhanced shot, something that's AI enhanced, thumbnail hiding extra data. Have you heard about it? It's been around for 25 years, WinHip. So WinHip is an app that you can use, and it's Windows hiding picture. So you can get a picture of an orchid or a rose or a train, and you can hide a document in there, and you'll hide it within that. So images aren't everything that you think about. Go and check out WinHip, and go and have a look at WinHip alternatives. Because you'll get that as well. And you've got, you're dealing with counterterrorism, you're dealing with a person who's committing criminal activity, and there's a picture of an orchid. And you're like, what's that all about? Do they collect orchids? Do they like orchids? Or are they using a software program that's hiding something in there, like a drugs list, or how to make something, or an offensive video or image? So AI enhanced shots, we can go back and have a look at the ones where it's been changed from the original. A thumbnail hiding extra data concealed in there, pure hallucination, like the picture that we've got here. This is from this person does not exist. So what you're looking at here is a jigsaw. There's probably 10 or 15 real people in this picture, and the software program has molded them all together. They've categorized them by skin tone and hair and age and male or female, etc. And they've melded that together into an image, and you go, let's use this. Well, you can't use this in social media, because they'll pick up on the fact that that is, and I'll give you some pointers towards that a little bit later. So we've got to find a piece. This is your target. They're called John Smith, and they're on Facebook, and you go, yes, I've got a picture of our guy. That's brilliant. Well, you haven't actually. You've got an image that is a pseudo image, and it's not your target. So you'll start doing searches on this. You won't find anything, because this picture was created uniquely for me when I went to the website. So there's red flags going off. You're going, right, there's red flags here. I can't find it anywhere else. Or you do find it elsewhere, but under different names. So that's smoke screening, or it's a picture that's been used a number of times on a website using website building software. So you can take your picture, send it to a website building software company, and they'll buy your picture off you, and then they'll put it as a thumbnail on the blank canvas for a website when people are building it. Now, if they don't change that picture, then that stays on there to say that you're somebody else. So we'll have a look at that as well. So actionable. So make this actionable, the ABC. Acquiring, let me just reduce my picture here so you get a better view of the slide. You don't want to look at my ugly mug. Okay, actual ABC of provenance. So acquire, backup, corroborate. You saw this in my last one. We talk about, what do you do with flights? Do you just go and book a flight when you go online or find a garage that's selling tires for your Hyundai or your Toyota? No, you don't. You go and look at several different ones. And then you make a sound judgment over those and go, right, the best one is this, it's the closest, it's cheapest, and it's a Michelin or whatever. It's a really good make. So I'll go for that. And you do that. You need to do this with images, with usernames, with emails, with everything. You've got to think about the target. You've got to think about wasting time looking at that, the footprints, uploading sensitive images to the internet, all sorts of stuff. So there are 8 core actions, of which there are 6 core and there's 2 advanced. With every single image you ever do, guys, you've got to think about Google Lens. That will show you similar and like. So it'll show you similar and like images where you've got an image and they run on about 70% accuracy. So what it'll do is we all know this, we go to Google Lens and we stick something in Google Lens and pictures come up the same, but also there's pictures there that are very similar but not quite. So that's a 70% accuracy. That's really useful if you're looking for a series of pictures. So one of the things I do on my training courses, we look at a picture of Justin Bieber and his wife, and I think they're going through Disneyland or something like that. And when you use Google Lens, you upload one picture in and it comes back with the whole series with a different paparazzi have taken different pictures at different positions in the park. But what's consistent? The clothes are consistent, the cobblestones, the background colors, such as railings and stuff like that, the hats they're wearing, the structure of their body. So there's enough there to say, oh, here's another picture. And you find it's another picture by another paparazzi in another part of the park at a different time, but they're connected. So it's really useful. Just bear in mind, operational security, Google Lens, you are uploading to Google, okay? And look at the terms and conditions in Google Lens. If you upload something to them, technically they potentially could own that copy of the image. So go and check that out. Also for operational security, what if it's a picture that is a sensitive picture? Certainly if it's child protection, you can't upload them. So you've got to think about other alternatives. And the upload, that's the key word. When you're doing this stuff, whether it's documents or anything of that nature, the word upload should set off a red flag with operational security if you don't want to share it. Never go past that point. So there are alternatives. TinEye searches, 100%. You put a picture into TinEye, you get the pictures back, which are exactly the same. Now, there's a little anomaly with TinEye and pictures exactly the same because there's an anomaly with pictures where so if I take a picture and it's in JPEG or bitmap or whatever it is, and I crop it to a thumbnail or I crop it down to just the face and save it in the same format, there is a chance that if you extract that data from that picture, you'll get the original big picture. So you got a headshot, but then you get the full picture and you might get a location, you might get other family members, all sorts of stuff. Bear that in mind. But TinEye, I'll prove that to you when we do TinEye. EXIF. Since 2007, every single smartphone, 2007, the iPhone 3, I think it was, August 2007, first sort of phone that started doing pictures, first smartphone, taking pictures. Every single picture that you've ever taken on any device with a camera will have EXIF data, exchangeable image file format data in it. through its journey now for security, and I understand the security because it protects children, protects vulnerable people by stripping that data out because it's privacy. The problem is they've stripped it out and they're in California or the website is somewhere else and you've got to apply for that data if you can apply for it. There's a number of people who will be watching today who say, I can't apply for that. I don't fit into that criteria. So we've got to think about other things and I'll show you some tricks how to do that. So the EXIF data is gone. What if I upload it into a folder on a free image sharing website and then stick it into social media? Well, the original one that is exactly the same, but it contains EXIF data, still contains the EXIF data. It's still there. So you've just got to go and find it. And I'll show you how to do that very quickly, shortly. Clues in image. Always have a look at clues in images. So you can use Google Lens very well for this. So you have a look for Google images. Have a look for the data in there, the buildings, stuff like that. I recently did a job for law enforcement. I do consultancy work looking for people and trying to track locations of things. And I saw through the window of this particular photo, there was no EXIF data in it, but I saw a mosque and reverse engineered the mosque, found out that it was in a city in the Middle East, and I was able to reverse engineer and look at the window that picture was taken from. So I worked out the address. Look for little clues like that. It may be insignificant, but it becomes the biggest thing. Cache copies. Now, cache copies, Wayback Machine, Google Cache, Cache View NL. Think about those to look at web pages before something was stripped out. Also, you can use cached copies and Wayback Machine and what have you for looking for something. Let's say you're looking at a target or a person of interest and they locked their Instagram account down. It became private in April 2025. Well, go to March 2025 and have a look at their account with all their pictures on Wayback Machine because they took a copy of it before it was locked down. Now, don't ever say if it's historic, it's worthless because that's not true. One of the exercises I do in my training is a picture of a music festival ticket with a photograph on it that is 13 years old. And from that, we work out the address that person was sleeping at last night. So don't ever say that something historic is valueless because it all has value. The only time that it becomes valueless or is of no significance is when you prove that. You go down the rabbit hole doing all your searches and you prove that that isn't any intrinsic value to your investigation now. But you've got to go there to find out. And then the last one is deleted image, which of course, the same thing as I say, I put an image on Facebook and I withdraw that or delete that image after about 15 minutes. So it doesn't matter. Other crawlers and servers from Bing and Google and Yahoo and AWS and others, Outbrain, they've all come in, taken a copy of it, and they've put it on their server. So by me deleting that image, I haven't deleted them all. Imagine this. It's like, the example I use is you're walking past a newsagent and they've got a newspaper and there's a picture of you on the paper and you're like, oh, I'm not happy with that. So you go into the newsagent and you buy all 5 copies in the newsagent and you tear them up. You throw them in the bin outside and you go, they've all gone. Brilliant. I've got rid of them all. Of course you haven't. There's another 1 million copies of the newspaper elsewhere in the world. And they're being distributed on planes and they're in the country and they're online. You've now got to go and find all those copies and delete them as well. That's how images work. And that's how data and posts and things like that work on the internet. Looking at historic stuff, irrespective of age, is super important. And then the last 2, which are a bit more advanced, think about hashing. So you have something that you can't put on the internet because it's offensive, it's sensitive, whatever. You hash it, and I'll be doing a talk on hashing a little bit later on where you hash it and you do a search on the hash. I'm going to show you a tool that will do that for you. And then metadata scraping, thinking about bulk extractions. And I'll give you some stuff for that as well. So let's have a look. Let's go through these one by one very quickly. Reverse engine searching, Google Lens images, TinEye, looking at this, matching shapes and colors and hue and stuff like that. And it is useful, but it can be hit and miss. It can be hit and miss. Let me just go out to, let me go and show you one that I did a little bit earlier on TinEye. Okay. So, oops, I'm sorry. So I'll do a quick search on TinEye. And this is a perfect example. Now, look at the word there, upload. For operational security, if you don't want to share it, you can't use it. Okay, but I'm going to upload a picture here. And it's this picture of a face here. It's a picture that's all over the internet. There's millions of copies of it. And I'm going to do a search. I want to find out who this is. So I do a search on it and it finds there's 138 exact copies. Remember, the first one was 70%. This one is 138 exact copies. And we have to now go through them. Now I've got to go through all these and find out what that person's real name is. And I go through all these. Now, can you see the picture? Do you remember what I was saying about cropping? Okay. Now, TinEye, on the picture that you can see at the top of the screen there, you can just see a little bit of the guy's collar, just a wee bit of the guy's collar. Yeah. So if TinEye is exact, why have we got that one there? Because we can see almost all of his collar. That's not the same. Well, it is the same because the picture that I did the search on, actually embedded within the picture, was the further information, such as a greater neckline. So that picture, I purposely reduced it, cropped it, saved it in the same format, and I'm doing a search on it to prove a point. And we've got these pictures here with almost the entire neck line in there, and the picture that I uploaded hadn't. So when you say exact, they are exact images, but what you visually see is slightly different. So got to do a bit of work on that. The key to that, guys, was upload, wasn't it? The key was upload. Okay. So I don't need to show you Google Lens. We're all familiar with Google Lens. Browser extensions. Let's think about browser extensions now. So there's browser extensions like search by image for, it's a really useful one. Search by image, it searches the top 10 biggest image databases in the world, and you use it in Firefox, and it's a little red camera. Go to the extensions and look for search by image, and it'll search all the major ones: Baidu, Yandex, Google, everything. You have to upload it. That's the big thing again. So operational security, you're uploading it to Baidu and Yandex, and they can see who you are by your IP address or whatever. And so it's not operationally secure to do that. It's very useful if you're not bothered by that. If you work in an organization where you've got VMs running, VPNs, you're double VPNing, you're masking your ID and stuff like that, then if you feel comfortable with it, then yeah, use it. But there's easier ways. And then regional geopivoting, search engine colossus, which is a search that you look via the country that you think the person came from, or you can choose another country, and it's very useful to do that. So there's the 8. So we've got those, and then the last 2 there. So browser extensions. So user search do a really useful browser extension, which it forensicated. Do you remember I said to you earlier about putting stuff into a property bag and you can't do it with it? Well, this technically does that. Technically, what it does is you choose something, an element, the whole screen or whatever. I'll take you to it and show you. And you choose something. And what I'll do is, in fact, I'll just leave it on this site. And you go down to the extensions, and you look for this extension, which is just do a search on user search, and you get this. And what it does is it asks you, and this is local, all right? It's local to you. So during the setup process, you will be asked to create an operation name. So I've created Operation Gold. It's 100% local. It's your machine, okay? Doesn't go anywhere. It's not stored by a third party. It's not stored by Windows by using print screens, stuff like that. And we've got this, and then I'm capturing it, and I can edit this, but I put in Mark Bentley at Bentac P176457. I put that data in so that it stamps it. So when I save something on this page, it doesn't go anywhere. It's not copied into the internet or anything like that. It actually forensically captures, it hashes, and it will give it a SHA, I think it's SHA-256 it uses. So it gives it a serial number in the same way as the property bag with the bloodied knife at a crime scene. And you use that for provenance. Here's your provenance. And it is court qualified data. So I can capture the full page. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pick an element. So I'll pick an element and I'll say, I'll have this one here. Now you can see by picking an element on the right-hand side here, you can see I've already got 5 captures in Operation Gold. When I click on this, it's going to take a copy. It's going to SHA-256. It's going to hash it. I think it's SHA-256. It's going to hash it, and it's going to save it in my machine locally, but it will timestamp and print it. So in 6 months' time, if I was to say, where did you get that picture? I'll say, well, I took that with this machine at that time, and my details are on there, and this is the hash number of it. And if you look at the original, the hash number is the same. So it shows that it's never been changed with AI or anything like that. So I'm going to save that one. And here it is. And I've got, this is just an extra one. I can add contemporaneous notes. So I can put notes in there to say, this is my subject who is of interest relating to phone number, cell number, da, 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 da. And I can put the notes in there, and that stores it with the image. You've got all that information in there. It's completely free. It's local to you guys. So it doesn't go anywhere. User search don't get it. It's an extension that you download. The clue is in it. Uploading is a risk. Downloading to you is safe. So it downloads to you, and you put that into your case file that you've created there, and that's it. And it timestamps and seals it. You put your notes in. You can verify the integrity. Let me just move that out of the way. 100% local. And that's your chain of evidence. So it's like presenting it at a later date to a supervisor, court, or whatever, sealed in a property bag, sealed in a police property bag with a seal number, because you have the seal number. And let's just have a look. So yes, I've got, I can call it target 3, I can call it whatever. I can choose another picture and I can save that picture. And I just press the wrong button. And yeah, so I can choose whatever I want here. I can have it as an active case, as a closed case, all sorts of stuff. So let's get back to the slides. Really useful because it doesn't go anywhere. Operational security is 100% bulletproof. Okay, let's just get back to the slides. Now, if you want to find out where that is, there's QR code there, or just go, as I showed you, go to the extensions and download, put in user search, download that into your machine, boom. And you can see on the left here, this is being recorded, so you'll be able to watch it at a later date. You can see all the things that it does. 100% local. It's free and unlimited use in the browser, court integrity, forensic web capture. What's not to like, guys? So let's have a look at image forensics. So you've got a picture, it's of interest to you. So you've got to think about the data has been stripped out. We've got nothing here. We've just got a picture. What are the important things? We've got information booth, so it's an event. We've got people wearing badges. And we've got, believe it or not, the most important thing about that is the reflection of the light in the mirror and the carpet. That's going to help us. So the EXIF has been, sorry, with this picture, the EXIF is removed, but you find that with this picture, you can do searches on Google Lens for carpet because it's not sensitive and the light fitting above. So let's assume for this that there's data in here. You look at this picture and you go, right, there's data in there. How can you enhance that information? You're going to look at that and say, we've got that date, the geolocation comes back to Caesar's Palace. Just go to Google and say, what event took place at Caesar's Palace on that day? And you find that DEFCON 25 took place and somebody took a picture in there. So you've got something and say, well, I don't know what this is about. But by analyzing the data and saying, right, okay, let's just go and say this is coming back to Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. That's the date of it. Was there an event there? Yes, there was. Now, but we've got that, but remember my ABC? We've now got to ABC it. So DEFCON's there. Is this DEFCON or is it hallucination? So we go and have a look at the carpets. We find other pictures. So we find these, and these are DEFCON as well. We've got the match of the carpet. We've got the match of the lights at the top. Lights are matching, carpets matching, lights. There's another picture there that's on the internet. Some girls doing tumbles down the thing, and you'll see that the carpet has changed. But it's Caesar's Palace. The picture on the left is Caesar's Palace. So we've got, it's confirmed, and we've got those confirmed. Certainly the one on the left confirmed on the same day. It was DEFCON. Now that tells you something about the person behind the camera and the people in the picture. They have an interest in hacking and stuff, and they have an interest in that type of stuff. So that tells you something about the person, doesn't it? You haven't got the ID yet, but you've certainly learnt something about, are they technically savvy? Have you got to raise your game? There's all sorts of stuff there, isn't there? Have you got some information that says, well, they are a programmer, they had a job as a programmer or whatever, and you go, well, that fits the profile. That is your ABC kicking in, isn't it? Couple of other forensic tools download. EXIF tool by Phil Harvey is really good. Another one, photo forensics. But EXIF tool by Phil Harvey you download. Remember, download safe, upload not so. It is safe, but if it's sensitive stuff for operational security, you don't want to do it, do you? So you've got photo forensics. Error level analysis. So we're going to put that in there, and the keyword, it's quite small, but bottom right there in the photo forensic picture is upload. Do you want to share it? Not sure you want to do that. There's alternatives, isn't it? There's alternatives, and I'll show you those. Right, forensic tooling walkthrough. XMView-MP is another one. This you download into your machine, the free version, and what this will do is it automatically in the background, if you save a picture with the user search thing into your machine, save a picture by copy and saving. If you use snipping tool or whatever you use, once it's in your machine, this in the background will go into it and extract all the data it possibly can to help you to identify if there's any EXIF data in there. So let's go and have a look at SargeBot. So I'm going to go back to, and we'll go and have a look at SargeBot and just run a few things through here, through the dashboard. Right, okay, just let me get rid of this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some pictures. So this is the user search dashboard, okay? And I'm going to put a picture in there. And you get the choice here with user search of you can do just 3,000 sites. That's a free search. You can do Twitter. You can do username searches. You can do all sorts of stuff in there with pictures. Oh, by the way, those of you who've been following our series and what have you, you'll see here, can you see the little +3, +1 red boxes? That means that the devs at user search are adding new tools. They're adding new stuff all the time. In fact, they've added a new tool regarding Reddit and Telegram. I'm going to be doing a video on that. That will probably come out in September, of all the really cool tools to analyze Reddit and Telegram, which is really important. So we've got picture here, and just give it a bit of a nudge. I was playing with it earlier, and you've got here face check, face search, And each one of these has, and you've got TinEye in there, you've got a GeoSaver, Google Lens, Find Picture Location, Face Check ID, you've got all that sort of stuff. Now, if I go and choose the picture that we had before, oops, let me just go back to that. And we go to the images. And I'm going to run this picture again. And we get the search, we get the choice here. So, and bearing in mind, this isn't going anywhere. It's not leaving your machine. It's going to the servers at user search. It's not leaving the machine. So I'm going to do this analysis now. So here it's saying, do you want to do all of them? I'm not going to bother with CamGirl Finder. We can choose what we want to do here. I want to see if I can locate this picture and do a geolocation on it, image data with TinEye, etc. So I'm going to do those searches now. And here we go. We're starting to get them. You see here, we've got them in Google. I've got to wait for the dots to finish moving. We've got Storyboard, Google. So they are updating the geolocation, the third-party server at GeoSphere that is being worked on. I got that notification from the devs today, so I knew that was coming up, but it's a temporary thing. They're just updating it to make it more powerful. So we have a look, find picture location. Right. So that particular picture there that I looked at is showing as Berlin. And it's showing as Berlin on that. So that is something that, I know this guy doesn't live in Berlin, but that copy, there is an originator, there is something in that image, whether it's EXIF, whether it's fragmented data in there to say there is a connection with Berlin. Now, this particular guy is an artist in America and his picture's all over the internet. So there's no problem in using that. But this one that I have, there is a connection to Berlin. Now, it's possible that when I cropped it and used it as an exercise, I did that on an IP in Berlin one evening when I was doing some training in Germany. But it gives you that, and it says there is something in the forensics of that to say there is a link to Berlin. Let me try another one. And you'll see, we're getting the TinEye stuff and you're getting the Google image stuff, but you're also getting the geolocation, the photo stuff here. And if we go and have a look at one, you'll go down to the bottom here. And the name that's given here is Alexa Vassi. Now, by doing this, it's still within the secure server. I haven't gone anywhere. So OPSEC is 100% bulletproof. We've got a LinkedIn page there. Let's go and have a look at that one. Matt Sheen. So let me tell you the story about this picture. This picture has been adopted by the website building sites. So you build a website, and if you've got somebody called Matt Steer, you haven't changed the picture, but you've put their name in to say he's a director or he's an instructor or whatever, and they've left the picture. So you get a lot of hallucinations on this. But what we can do with this picture is we can go to SargeBot and we can try and see if we can identify that person. But we've got all these, and the images that are coming back are from OSINT Industries, from all sorts of platforms. Intocular News, Twitter, GitHub. So when you see these as a couple of results of they're the same site like Twitter, it means that you're finding them on different platforms, and they've all found them on Twitter, which is your ABC, which is your confirmation again, isn't it? So let's just have a look at let's have a look at, I've got another one actually I'll play with, and it's a sweater. So I'm just going to go to that. And this is a school sweater. And I'm just going to run this school sweater. I'll do the analysis again, and I'll cover everything. I'll apply the filters. Now, for child protection, this is particularly interesting. If you find a picture of a child online wearing a school sweater, it's really important, isn't it? So there we go. St. John the Baptist Church of England Primary School, Winchester. So it's looking for the picture. We'll also find, it'll find copies of the picture in, so if you did this in TinEye, you won't find it. So you go, well, it's not there. Well, it is there. But this is searching on 8,000 websites and 20 aggregators all at once. And it's not, you're not uploading it. You're doing a search on this through an encrypted channel. And you find it very quickly. Now, for child protection, that's essential, isn't it? If you've got a vulnerable child that is wearing a sweater on, or whatever it is, wearing a sweater, or your target's wearing a body warmer with a logo, you find that and it will give you locations so that you can now think, right, we're now one step further to identify that person or where they work or where they go to school or whatever. So there's safety issues there. Part of the reason why social media strip the data out is exactly for this, because you could actually use the pictures on there and find out the geolocation EXIF data where a picture was taken of a child. And there's a vulnerability there. So quite rightly, they strip it out, which is a good thing. But there's ways around it, such as this. So let's just go back to the slides. Oh, sorry, I was going to do Sargebot. So let's go to Sargebot. Now, Sargebot is the AI version of user search that will go and have a look at data that you put in, and it's a really powerful thing. And the other thing, of course, is that it covers all these different platforms, but they're secure because they're the private ones, so they don't go out of this. Okay, so I'm going to click on image, do this guy, and run it through. And this does come back with a lot of names that are not this guy. But we're going to see if we can get something in here. And what it does, there's 2 or 3 layers to this to say, right, okay. And you say, yes, I'll ask you to run those searches. And you say, well, why don't I just use TinEye? Well, again, while this is doing, you're uploading it to TinEye. This, you're not. You're doing a search via proxy. So it's very, very safe. So I'm just going to run this just to see what it comes up with. And it comes up with all sorts of names and stuff. But this is you. Bearing in mind, do you remember we went to TinEye? So you're going old school like me, and you go to TinEye and there's 138 results, and you go, do you know what? I'm going to start looking at every single one to see if I can work out who it is. How long is that going to take you? A long time. So I'm just going to say dive into the I'm going to say let's have a look at that. And all it's doing here is it's just saying I'll do this analysis, or I'll find out everything I can. When you'll have seen on the last one I did that I put my email in, it came back with me and my cell phone number, my telephone number. Now that you can do that. You can go onto the internet old school and do a proper OSINT, old school OSINT, and it'll take you a long time. It may take 2 or 3 of you a long time to do that, and then you put it together. Whereas this, like you can see there, it says it can take up to 2 minutes. 2 minutes to do everything. So, and it's not uploading and doing stuff that leaves you vulnerable operationally security wise. So we'll just let this finish and see what it comes up with. I can tell you now, if I do the sweater, it'll come back with the school, etc. And it's saying, right, okay. So it's going through these and it's looking at the different hosting for them and the backlinks. So by extracting this data, it's giving you can see where the most likely ones here are and the gaps. So gaps in the information. So let's go and have a look. Right. So it's actually giving you that this came up around about 2013, about September 2013, this. So the picture we're going to be looking at for him now is 13 years older. And we've got the underlying asset on different sites there, which will take us to the real name of the guy. But then it's also saying that the high signal overlaps are where we've got websites that have used that picture without any connectivity to a name or an identity of a person. And then we've got the different dimensions. So do you remember I said about thumbnails and bigger images and what have you? And it works it all out for you. We've got them on Tumblr, Google user content, Kajanga, CloudFront. So we've got the CloudFront one there. OkCupid, we've got dating websites and stuff like that. So the query matches are quite low on this. So what you need to do is go and have a look at the picture. If we just choose a name and then say, who is this? And it'll say, no, it's somebody else. I could do that, but we've typed for time here and I'm conscious of that. So you can see here that it will create something very, very comprehensive about these are the things you need to take further. These are the things that you're not to take further. And it'll, as you saw, it'll do a report for you as well. So let's get back to the slides. Now, just bear in mind, using something like SargeBot doesn't go out to your machine. EXIF tool doesn't go out to your machine because it analyzes it within your machine because you've downloaded it. The Chrome extension for SargeBot stroke OSINT, user search, OSINT searching on Chrome keeps it private and seals it in a bag for you. You can't beat that for provenance, guys. So let's think about operational case studies. We've got a picture here that's on the internet, on Instagram, and you want to find out where these two people are sitting. And it analyzes the background. It'll analyze the background. This is actually a map that came up on user search to say this is the front on the Palm Jumeirah, and it works out by the turrets and the distance of the water and everything like that. So without sending that picture anywhere, it will do this analysis and say that's the location, that is the actual address. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that it will do that. Famous picture of John McAfee. This picture was uploaded. The story is this picture, apparently, allegedly, this picture was uploaded on the internet. John McAfee actually disappeared off the face of the earth, the man who created McAfee antivirus. And it was believed that he might have crashed his plane or died or whatever. He wasn't around anymore. So they wanted to find out if this picture was taken before or after that event. And this picture was uploaded on the internet without any EXIF tags or data. And looking at it, do you remember what I said about never assume that because you haven't got the data? If we put this through user search, it'll find the original one with EXIF data. And it'll tell you that it was post-event. It tells you where it is, where that picture was taken. So, and the device that took it and the date. So we've got the data on there. But can you imagine the investigators getting this picture to start with to try and locate this guy and having no EXIF data? And it's so easy as an investigator to go, that doesn't exist. The EXIF data has been stripped out, doesn't exist anymore. It's historic. It's from 14 years ago. We haven't got it anymore. No, you do the digging. You use user search and go do the image search. And one of the results that comes back is a copy that has the geolocation and the geotags. You remember I showed you where it showed you the school in Winchester. It comes back and it will say that it's in Dummy Road, Rio Delche, Guatemala with the date. So never say never, guys. Really important with images. So this is the picture that I was showing you. It's you've got to find something like user search that will do the work for you, do the heavy lifting, because heavy lifting and analysis, there's 138 different personas for this picture. He's actually an artist from a well-respected artist from New York. And what you have to do is you have to find the copy that has like or similar pictures of him on there. But where you see Jose Lopez, architect, Filippo Baresta, programming, Santa Friend, Yota Acosta, it's where they've just used that picture that was on the framework or gone to Google and found it. It's really easy to find. But none of those are his name. And you have to then go through it. Now, to do this is massively time consuming, unless you use an analysis tool like I just showed you for user search that will start saying, right, ignore all this because this is hallucinations, go for these ones. And then you just trim it down. And if we had the time, I would just ask the next question, say, right, using those things that you've trimmed down to 6 different entities, who is it? And eventually it comes back with his name. That in old school OSINT investigations is certainly for this, I'm going to say is a couple of days' work. You know, you're talking about a couple of days' work, possibly for a couple of people to try and dig into that. And user search did it in 2 minutes. Or another 2 minutes. If I'd have asked 2 more questions, it would have come up with those. But we were getting locations as well, all sorts of stuff. Yes, he's in New York. Did he go to Berlin? We can work that out on the dates. Get historic data. This is an old picture. You've got historic data. If you're looking at this stuff, this is 2006, 20 years old, taken by a Canon PowerShot because we didn't have smartphones then. And you go, well, this is a picture I found on Wayback Machine for this guy. He is a member, let's just assume, member of a cycling club. It's on Wayback Machine, and this is on Google. And you find it and you go, I wonder if he's still a member of the club. I wonder if he's still a member of that club, because that might take me further into keywords like cycling, bikes, whatever. And you get it and you go, oh, it's 2006. It's worthless. Really? February 11, 2006. You go to Wayback Machine and you see February 11, 2006, Tour de Palm Springs. And you say, right, okay, I wonder if he's still a member of that cycling club because he posted that picture or he shared that picture. And you've got the date there, and you go, right, that's the confirmation. That's the ABC. We've got Tour de Palm Springs. You look it up and you start finding the latest stuff. Tour de Palm Springs, cycling event schedule 2022. And you go, I wonder if there's one coming up because then, you know, he may attend it. And you have a look at that, and there it is. Next one's on February the 6th, 2027, and the Tour de Palm Springs in Coachella Valley. So tell me that picture's worthless. Yeah. And I don't mean what I'm about to say as an insult, but the biggest hurdle that we have as investigators, guys, is ourselves. We say to ourselves, oh, it's not there. I've done a Google search on a cell phone number and I've looked on the first 6 pages, it's not there. Yes, it is there. But you've got to, you know, you either spend 2 days looking at 56,000 results on Google and other entities, or you just use user search and get it within 2 minutes. Yeah. So, hallucinations. Pictures from this person does not exist. Okay. When you're looking at pictures, always look for a blurred or a strange background. Okay. There might be some misshapen things in the back. The eyes look straight ahead or slightly off, but they're in the same place in every image. Now, this is why if you try and use these when you're creating a profile on social media, they'll work out what you're doing because of the X and Y axis position of the eyes. And there may be things that are misshapen, but there's always a blurred background. Even if you've stripped out all the metadata out of the picture that you've saved and it doesn't show that it came from this person does not exist. There is a way of tricking social media websites when you create sock puppets, but you'll have to come on my training. because that's slightly going outside. Sock puppets is slightly outside what we're talking about today. We've got the blurred background, the eyes in the same position, looking ahead or slightly off looking at a corner of the picture, and jewelry. So if we have a look at this one, then have a look at the next one. The eyes are in the same place. If you go to this person doesn't exist and keep clicking, refresh, 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 the eyes don't move. But can you see here that we've got glasses on one side, we've just got some glasses on the left-hand side there, but not continuing. The hair is a bit odd. The blurred background, we get that, you know? So eyes in the same place. And it's a thing. But come along on my training and I'll show you how to get around it. So don't forget, use this for capturing history, videos, all sorts of stuff. 100% local in your machine. It's safe in your machine. Think about the sources that user search is going to look at for this stuff, whether it's emails and Epios and Pipple and stuff like that, or whether it's TinEye and looking for images. Think about those. Really important. Really important you're going to search on these within 20 seconds. You're going to search on all 8,000 within 2 minutes. It's insane. So for speed and brevity is, time critical investigations. It's an essential tool. It's essential. Reach out to the guys or myself on my user search email, and I'll give you some details as how we can give you a free trial. If you work in certain industries, you'll get a free trial loaded with credits. And instead of listening to my BS, go and try it yourselves. And then you'll see that I'm not messing you around. So one image using user search, photos, avatars, EXIF, doesn't matter what it is. Stick it through there, and then you get so much back within a couple of minutes. One person, a couple of minutes. It's insane. It's insane. So if you'd have been talking to me 10 years about open sourcing, I've been training open sourcing for 20 years and speaking at conferences and stuff. And if you'd have asked me 10 years ago, I'd say, no, it's old school. It's going to take you 3 or 4 days. So on my training, I give really easy exercises because and then we build up to harder ones. But I give them hints so that we can fast track, because if I'd have to have a course for 2 weeks if we actually did it lifetime, because it takes so long. Whereas now it can take 30 seconds. Really important, guys. Okay, don't forget, go and have a play around with SargeBot. Reach out for a trial account. This is number 2 in a series. We've got a couple more coming up next month. I think we're doing Reddit and Telegram, and we'll do another one. Keep an eye out for those. Subscribe to User Search, and you'll get notifications of those. There's all sorts of goodies coming up. Reach out to me if you have a particular gripe about open sourcing and it's a hurdle you just can't get past. And I'll do a webinar on it. We're pretty open here at User Search, and there's going to be all sorts of stuff. Headers, tokens, authentication tokens. That's going to be a good one. It's the future of digital mapping of people. Okay, here's my details. If you are interested in a one-to-one online on Zoom, a scheduler, there's the link and the QR code. Let me just move my picture out of the way of that. There's, I said 12 part. I should have changed this. My bad. It's not going to be 12 part. It's going to be ongoing indefinitely, talking about all sorts of sessions. The user search platform, if you have any technical questions, speak to the really clever guys and the devs at user search using the details in the center there. And if you want to reach out to me for any questions, any tools you want me to, or anything you want advice on OSINT and stuff like that, then reach out to me there. Well, that is about me. If you've got any questions, please put them in the box or reach out to me. And this is being recorded, so it will be on demand, free on demand shortly. after this has taken place on YouTube. And some of you might not have been able to get in the room because it was heavily oversubscribed, massively oversubscribed. So you'll be watching it live. Drop me an email, ask me the question. I'll be very happy to answer them. Okay, guys, thanks very much for everything and attending. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I threw some insights into this of how interesting it can be doing this stuff and pitfalls and stuff. There's lots more. I could talk about images for 2 days. So with the phone ringing in the background, I will leave you and please reach out. Thank you very much.